Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. Someone sent me this link, and I found it in my video. Someone sent me this link, and they're like, "Oh, Mike, I actually found your mortgage prison part 4." So it's in my videos, but for some reason, when you type in mortgage prison, for some reason, part 4 only comes up, and I think part 6. So I was talking about mortgage prisons, the Australian mortgage prison, Canadian mortgage prison, and the past mortgage prison of the United States of America, right? So I did find one. I found part 4. It's here. And look how handsome I used to be back in 2016. This was published on December 11, 2016. Man. Mortgage prison. I'll leave a link below for you guys to read it. I had to look at that closely because I don't know what the hell I was reading. That's the sound of an envelope full of house keys that makes you, when you mail it back to the bank. Large numbers of Americans, their house... That's jingle mail. Let me skip ahead here. Tiny, I'm squinting here. I need glasses. I can't give in to glasses, okay? I'm too young. There's no easy way out of this, except bankruptcy, which sucks. Your credit rate will turn into mush, and you may be effectively shut down out of many job opportunities, as well as, of course, not being able to score another mortgage for several years. Try 7-8 years. Remember, It doesn't matter if the mortgage is recourse or non-recourse. So someone sent me this mortgage prison part 4, and there's somebody actually in Australia that downloaded my Australian mortgage prison. I think it was part 2 or part 1. I can't remember. So I found this here. So I'll leave a link below. I'll leave it at the end of the video, and I'll leave a link below to it. To my original, there's an original video series. So there was 6 parts I did on the whole mortgage prison system, and the last part I talk about the banking system and the whole fiat currency and fractional reserve lending and all that stuff. So anyways, I've been with you guys, Australia. I've been with you guys for many years now. And for those that listen to my warnings and heed warnings, I toast to you guys some of my lemon water here. Thank you for being by my side all these years, and yeah, it means a lot to me. Okay, so let's do a little bit of Australia edition here. Tomorrow we'll be touching on Vancouver, Toronto, and the United States and the UK and trends in the housing market. We'll do a little bit of Australia and New Zealand too, but we need to get to work here. Because the lender can still come along and seize the asset you financed. Your house... Look how good looking I used to be. Whoa. Now I got old and, just paler and... Anyways. Important news. What is going on? Chinese buyers more concerned about falling prices than Opal Tower problems. Do you remember the article I read for you guys a year ago about Chinese fleeing Sydney and Melbourne because of the lack of capital outflows that are leaving China? Well, it is true. And everything is coming to light. The problems at the Opal are not phasing Chinese and foreign buyers, but they are turning away from the Australian market anyway. Chinese agents and markets say that's happening right now in Vancouver. All Canadian cities where they were heavily invested in are all turning away, and a lot of people are walking away from their homes and leaving them empty. We had Steve the Plumber on the show that did quite a bit of foreclosures, and the foreclosures that he did, he told me basically that they were just... sitting empty for years. So, inquiries in recent weeks have actually been rising as would-be buyers were inquiring after properties in an effort to take advantage of the falling Australian dollar, agents said. The greater roadblocks to investments are falling house prices, lack of mortgage financing, inability to transfer capital from China to Australia. Thank you. But not only that, guys, it's the Australian proper can't secure financing with the stress testing, all this Mickey Mousing, and now that the Royal Commission is sniffing around the banks and stuff, they got to make their books look as good as possible and as clean as possible. The greater roadblocks to investment are falling house prices, lack of mortgage financing, inability to transfer capital from China to Australia, and an untrustworthy middleman such as property marketer Ausen, which collapsed late last year following the disappearance of housing deposits in China. So there was a company down in south of me in China, and well, not south of me, but you know what I mean, southern hemisphere in Asia, where basically the company, I read this article a few months back, where they were taking deposits to buy properties, and they just took the deposits. So late last year, at the start of the year, we had people inquiring about apartments wanting to take advantage of the falling Australian dollar. Many also wanted a safety converting their Chinese renminbi into Australian dollar. Chinese Australian project marketer CLG Group's Alan Yan said, "Of course, anyone who has acquired the Opal Tower would be nervous. But on its own, it has no effect on demand one way or another." Mr. Yan also told Chinese buyers were less concerned about the Australian dollar's future movement because they had faith in the currency. Australian Stock Exchange listed finance and property firm N1 Holdings received a phone call from owner Beijing after Opal incident looking to consolidate his apartment investments. He wanted to refinance after seeing the news, but he's just one chief executive. The weak confidence in the market has been baked in, and foreign buyers' interests have already been dented by other factors like falling prices. Opal is not a major issue for foreign buyers. Chinese buyers were no doubt intrigued by the Opal Tower disaster, which would have triggered criminal charges in China, another marketer said. The main concern is the downturn in the market, but some have started questioning. Whoa, wait a minute. Opal does it, but there's so many empty apartments in China falling apart. What the, what? What do you, what? Anyways. The main concern is the downturn in the market, but some have started questioning the quality of Australian properties to other countries, especially neighboring Southeast Asia, he said. Well, I think they should compare it to their own country standards. If we compare turnkey apartments, the Australian standard is far lower than others. The tradesmen here just don't seem to care. They don't treat the homes they build as their own. I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. That's true. While there is limited Chinese buyer reaction to Opal, local Chinese media reports show many have little faith in how Australia real estate system owners will compensate owners in a case like Opal. Chinese buyers acquired a large number of apartments in Australia, the housing boom in 2012 to 2017. How do we now protect the rights of the owners? The surface problem may be cracks at the Opal. Real problem is in the system, a Chinese report said. In general, the protection of apartment owner rights in New South Wales has weakened over the past 7 years. In addition, there is limited liability for developers and the builders, the service providers and contractors they use. Subcontractors are not obligated to apartment owners. So this is a really good one. The developer can't choose to use bankruptcy to get out. Developers have often smart arrangements to declare bankruptcy to limit this involvement. Remember what I said about this? A lot of these development companies in past videos file for bankruptcy after they've done the project. Done. So they can't get chased after if they try to sue them, right? Regardless of Opal and ones, Mr. Wong said Chinese buyers have already turned toward low-rise standalone homes such as house and land packages, so the failure of tall towers will not greatly affect their buying decisions. Further, while Chinese investment was slowing, there has been a pickup in interest from other Asian buyers from Malaysia and Singapore, he said. So it's other countries that have acquired, citizens of the countries that have acquired wealth that are starting to move their money offshores into safer havens. Mortgage brokers say they're in demand. They're in demand as credit crunch persists. Record number of property buyers are turning to mortgage brokers as it becomes harder to obtain a loan. So when people go to an A1 lender directly at the bank, they try to give you the best deal possible. Then you start going to a mortgage broker, and if that doesn't work and they can't find you anything, then a lot of people go to shadow lenders or like the mafia. But the way the banks are operating nowadays, I honestly would rather deal with the mafia than deal with the bank. The way the corruption the bank's doing, and they're getting away with basically tyranny. If you did this to somebody, what the banks did. If you do what the bank's doing to somebody else, they'll put you in jail because the bank does it. Oh, well, yeah, it's okay. And that's what you call tyranny. When the bigger enchiladas could do it, but you can't. Record numbers of property buyers turning to mortgage brokers as it becomes harder to obtain a loan, according to analysis by the industry's peak representative body. The analysis showing about 6 in 10 home loan borrowers are using brokers comes as the industry braces for findings in the Banking Royal Commission. I brought that up earlier. Royal Commission should have been put in place since the time of Moses. They should be protecting the people. Unfortunately, this all tails back to 2007. So, when we artificially reduced rates to zero, and that was our major problem. And now we're sitting in a state of stagnation, deflationary environment, and Australia is going to be hit the hardest because rising debt has surpassed rising wages by I don't know how many percent, but it's been a lot. So. And then running this quantitative easing for me, in my opinion, let me tell you my opinion here. Quantitative easing is kind of like a manufacturing, kind of a deception. A manufactured deception to bail out the banks is what it is. And no, it's not a laxative. And they're building this economic bubble on top of another bubble, another phony asset bubble. So they're building, it's almost like they still haven't learned from the previous recession, and now they're building by lowering rates artificially to record low historical rates for the longest time. What they've done is they've now manufactured another bubble on top of another bubble. It's building another phony asset on top of another asset that's so phony as day. And yeah, we're going to see what happens. So let's continue here. The analysis is showing about 6 in 10 home loan borrowers are using brokers comes the industry braces for findings of the Royal Commission, which could include sweeping recommendations about broker standards, commission payments, particularly trailing commissions, and potential conflicts of interest. The report is due February 1st. We'll keep our finger on the pulse of that. Major banks have also been attempting to restructure their relationships with mortgage brokers who act as intermediaries between lenders and borrowers with changes to the incentives and training standards. So what happens is, okay, somebody calls a mortgage broker. Hey, man, what's going on? I need a mortgage. Okay, did you try your bank? Yeah, they declined me. They told me to go to a broker. Okay, no problem. So over the phone, the mortgage broker will take an application, date of birth, your SIN number, employment, current employment. If it's less than 4 years, where'd you work before? Current address, how long have you had your mortgages? And then they ask permission to pull your credit bureau. Then you say yes. They pull your credit bureau. They look at your credit bureau. Then they try to fit your TDS in. What they do is they look at what your credit bureau automatically fills in. The lenders, the mortgage broker get the screen where it automatically fills in all your credit cards and all your debts and auto loans and lines of credits and your existing FMAR, your existing first mortgage. And what it does, it automatically calculates it for him and shows him what your total debt service ratio. Then from the total debt service ratio, the broker could try and see if he could place a mortgage in an institution for you for the best rate possible. So that's how that works. And that's what the mortgage broker does. So the mortgage broker does the shopping for you to find you the best rate possible, right? Bigger changes possible. In the past 2 weeks, lenders have begun calculating upfront commissions on funds used to repay the loan net of any balances held in offset accounts. So this is not good. Many brokers are already facing changes in their commission payments following reforms agreed by the Combined Industry Forum, Sedgwick Report, and recommendations of Australia Securities and Investment Commission's broker to remuneration review. In the past 2 weeks, lenders have begun calculating upfront commissions and funds used to repay the loan of any balances held in offset accounts. Other lenders, such as Westpac Group, are moving their mortgage brokers to a tiered service model known as priority broker support, which will qualify brokers for priority service such as faster loan servicing if they satisfy new quality criteria. So that's what the whole thing is happening. People are not securing financing. A lot of people with this interest-only mortgages that Australia miraculously came out with to fuel this housing bubble and to keep the Ponzi scheme going. It's hurting a lot of Australians because a lot of people believed in their banks, believed in their brokers, believed in what they were getting was the right thing, believed that property prices were going to go up. And for those that listened to me way back in the years, and for those that got divorced because they listened to what I said, there's 2 gentlemen in Australia that got into a divorce with their wives because they refused to buy. And their wives, you're going to listen to some guy that can't read on YouTube over what I want, and I want a house, and blah, 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 and we're at these parties, everybody owns but us, and I feel so embarrassed that we're renting. Well, for those that didn't buy, salute. You're doing well. You're already ahead of the game. Anyways. Let's continue here. Australian dollar drifts higher as China stimulates speculation intensifies. So, the Australian dollar drifted higher against most of the major crosses on Tuesday, benefiting from increased speculation over the prospect of further Chinese economic stimulus. Here's the scoreboard at 8:10. So, here it is, the breakdown. So, what do you guys think living down under? From my friends down under? The People's Bank of China indicated that the Chinese yuan exchange is no longer constraining the central bank's reserve requirement ratio. Cuts implying that interest rate cuts could be in policy toolkit if the economy deteriorates, and disclosing higher than market expected loan growth in December, said an analyst and credit Suisse. I've never even heard that word in my life. China's Ministry of Finance, MOF, and National Development and Reform Commission confirmed that the announcement of the value-added tax cuts at the March National People's Congress and pledged to accelerate infrastructure and investment. So we're going to see what happens with that. We'll keep our finger on the pulse. We got to get Andrew Baker on the show. Maybe on Thursday, my Thursday, if he's free, to do a market corner watch. Give us an update on what's going on. Consumer confidence evaporated over Christmas, Westpac says. This was listed 4 hours ago. Guys, this is really important because, again, it's the middle class, it's the working poor, it's the ones that can't afford or have it really hard are the ones that are actually carrying this economy. The rich don't pay tax, and they do, but I mean they don't pay anywhere near as much as a lot of the working class and middle poor does. You know, if they had some sort of a tax break because they don't make as much, it would be better. Then there would be more consumer spending, and there would be money in the middle class again, and people will be trading. Right now, no one's trading because, and I'm not taking stocks, buying and selling product and selling and buying and ordering from suppliers and supplying the, your area with blenders and microwave ovens. But no. People don't want to take the risk anymore. Retailers don't want to take the risk. Australians have started the year in a dour mood, with Westpac's widely watched consumer sentiment index posting the biggest monthly fall in more than 3 years to drop into negative territory. The index plunged 104.4 in December to 99.6% in January. A reading below 100 indicates that there are more pessimists than optimists. Westpac Matthew Hassan said that the first sub 100 recording since November last year. The cautiously optimistic consumer mood that prevailed through 2018 has evaporated, with the sentiment beginning in the new year with a slightly pessimistic view, he wrote in the report. Confidence has come under pressure from numbers of fronts, including continued slide in the house prices, disappointing updates, and Australia's economic growth, ongoing concerns around global trade wars, and political uncertainty. Again, guys, consumer confidence is completely evaporated. It's the lowest it's been in Canada, I think, since 1975, and I think it's the lowest it's been in the United States since 2007, 2008. So what is happening? What is happening, babe? People, babe. What is happening, babe? What is happening, people? I've been talking about once consumer confidence dies out, the middle class stops spending, and you know what I'm saying? Here's the problem, okay? And this is what a lot of people aren't seeing. 7% of the GDP in Australia is consumption. Okay, everyone's broke, so no one's spending. You know, it's the lowest level of spending right now, and now with robotic animation taking over and taking away jobs, it's hard to create a good, strong economy under these new circumstances we're going to here in 2019 and 2020. So like I said, Australia is building a second economic recovery built on a previous deteriorating economy that didn't get fixed the first time. Things weren't fixed the first time around, and right now this stagnation and deflationary environment that Australia is in is just going to get a lot worse come in Q1, Q2, and Q3 2019. Man, hold your horses, guys. I can't wait for the Australian blame game come this fall in Australia, summertime here in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm very interested to see what is going to happen with the Great Australian Blame Game. Who's going to blame who? Who's going to be at fault? Is it the foreign investors? Is it the banks? Is it the banks' faulty practices? Is it the brokers? Whose fault is it? The government for allowing so much immigration coming in to buy out their country? Who do you point the finger at? Right? Who's the blame game gonna blame? Comment below, guys. I'd like to know who is the blame game gonna blame, guys. Don't forget to share my videos out there. I know I'm not the greatest or most professional guy in the world, but I'll be very frank with you. I know what's going on, and I've been feeling it, and I've been preparing for it the last 6-7 years, and I've been warning everybody about this, that things are going to get a lot worse than they get better, because people, some bizarre reason, forget that markets go up. Oh, markets go down. Sorry. People forget that markets go down. And then now with this quantitative easing, I call it a falsely manufactured deception to bail out the banks and the big wigs. Is that a good way to put it? Yeah, I guess it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Thanks for hitting me up in the tip jar, guys. Don't forget to send me $2 in the tip jar. Everyone sends me $2. I could get this operation rolling to a better, just a better everything. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you guys think. Comment below. Thanks for watching, and c'est la vie.